Well, man, no business is closed this week, but I did spend 3 days, 3 nights in jail. It did happen, so it was
You 3 days and 3 nights in jail?
Yeah.
What happened?
I'm too embarrassed to say, man. I just wanted to let you know I'm out, I'm here, but I'm too embarrassed. I'm not going to say.
Well, can somebody say it for you? Is there anybody there that can help me?
You can probably, Tony the Spider is our correspondent this week. You can ask him if you really want to.
Hey, Tony the Spider, why the hell was Josh in jail for 3 days and 3 nights?
Here's Tony the Spider. If you people only knew.
He's not going to tell you either. Wouldn't you like to know? And before he changes his mind, opening credits, let's go.
Good evening, and welcome to episode number 28. 28? My voice cracked a little bit. Of Slash Trax Action News. My name is Alex Vanover.
And I'm Josh LaRue. There, now mine's cracked too.
Yeah, you did yours on purpose. I did mine by accident. I was Peter Brady there for a little bit. Pork chops and applesauce. Hey, it's good to be back in the studio today with you, man.
Yes. I love the studio. Can't you see how it's all the same studio? Look at how similar it is.
Yeah. I like how you said, I love the studio, like someone had a gun to your head, and they're like, say you love the studio, you son of a bitch.
I love the studio.
Like, I love the studio. It's great. I love it. There's nobody forcing me to be here at all.
Did I say it okay? Did I say it was okay?
Yep.
Now everybody knows that Jumpin' Jeff Farmer had the gun to my head, so.
Jumpin' Jeff Farmer actually runs the show now. He has the cue cards. He has the show rundown, the format. Jumpin' Jeff Farmer has done a full takeover of the Slash Trax network.
We were powerless against him.
Yeah, he's too charismatic. He talked us into it. We signed a bunch of paperwork without even having our lawyers at the Slash Trax network look over our stuff for us. Josh, let's get into nice comment, mean comment, nice comment. But before we do that, because I'm jumping the gun as always, I'm going to plug the email real quick. slashtrax2020@gmail.com. If you want to be a sponsor, you like the content, you want to get a hold of us, maybe work with us in the future, email us there. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer for Dear Slashy, so like advice, and if you have any good would you rather questions that we can tackle on a future episode of Slash Trax Action News, get a hold of Josh and I at slashtrax2020@gmail.com. And Josh actually recently sent out the caption winners some emails on the channel. So Josh had a best captions contest, and there's some winners that were selected, and I believe Josh has written you. So check those out and get back to us at the email.
Yeah, and we'll be posting your captions very soon on the community tab. They were very funny. I couldn't even pick a winner, so like pretty much everybody won. It was great. You guys all did great. Thank you.
Also on the communities tab, the Slasher versus Slasher Battle Royale just ended, and it was Ash versus Jason Voorhees. Freddy was taken out, and then it was Jason versus Ash, and Ash and Jason tied, and they had to have an extra slash off.
Yep.
And Jason ended up just killing Ash in the final round.
By
right?
one vote. By one vote.
By one vote.
One vote.
Yeah, so if Ash had a little bit more motor oil for his chainsaw, he would have probably got the drop on Jason, but Jason slashed his other arm off and ended the battle.
Ash,
Prematurely.
he's getting a little too old. You know, he's getting a little winded easier and stuff. So
Before he could finish Groovy, his other arm was off and his head was chopped off. All right, Josh, first nice comment of episode 28.
okay.
I appreciate this channel so much! Exclamation point. And that is from BJK0131, and they're talking about Slash Trax number 36, The Howling.
Marsupials. Thank you. We appreciate you too.
We do appreciate you, and we appreciate the comment. And the Marsupials was actually holds a record. It's the only Slash Trax movie that ever broke two people in the same film. Michael Clark, his first attempt at riffing was broke a quarter of the way through it. So Master Evil's own henchman was broke 25 minutes into the Marsupials. So, and coincidentally, Michael Clark is the one who selected the film. He broke himself.
We were glad to have you there, buddy. It was fun. I'm sorry it broke you. And you know what? It broke me too. So I'm man enough to admit it. It broke me. Very much broke me. In fact, Alex, Jumpin' Jeff, should I show a quick clip of me being broken by Master Evil?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you lost your shit. You were laughing hysterically. I almost wasn't sure if you were putting that on or if you were, but it was real. You were actually laughing hysterically.
The dude, Moola May, or whatever he was yelling. Yeah, it was something else.
That movie was almost like they got money to make the movie and they couldn't believe that they were actually given the money to make the movie, and they're like, well, shit, we haven't written anything. We have a budget, but we have no movie. So they just went and did the best they could.
And Alex had the great idea of making like it. We both had the idea of like making a sitcom thing, and he told me he picked Step by Step, and that was like the perfect choice. We made a little step-by-step sitcom thing for the episode.
Should have put a werewolf on the roller coaster right next to Patrick Duffy.
I should have put Patrick Duffy in the credits. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I like made the little kid Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. You know what I was thinking about? I just saw something where Sasha Mitchell, who played Cody, played the nephew of Patrick Duffy's character on Dallas.
Wow.
And then he also played the nephew of Patrick Duffy on Step by Step. But it was totally unrelated. Like, Sasha Mitchell thought that since he had a relationship with Patrick Duffy, that's why he got the audition and the role on Step by Step. But when he talked to Patrick Duffy and was, like, thanking him, Patrick Duffy's like, dude, I honestly, this is completely random. I didn't know that you were up for the part.
He could have just lied and took the credit for it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. He had no idea that you were, so, here, happy accident, I guess.
As a kid, Alex, I never put together that Step by Step was just like a 90s Brady Bunch. They just mixed up the kids. That's it.
I also didn't really figure it out until I got much older. And I still don't know, did Suzanne Summers' husband die, or did they just get divorced? in Step by Step. And what happened to Patrick Duffy's wife? Do they ever explain that?
I do not remember. If we have that certain interview that you're trying to set up, then I'm gonna have to rewatch a lot of the show just to be back up to date on it. But
yeah, we're gonna have to figure it out.
I'm surprised they haven't done a reboot yet. And if they did one, would the youngest son all of a sudden come back into existence? Because like in the final season, the youngest son just disappears. Never seen.
I think his name was Brandon or something. The little kid who has like no lines ever. He's literally just like he's a prop almost.
Yeah. He goes upstairs in like the next to last season, like Richie's brother in Happy Days, and just never comes back down. I guess he was in timeout the whole time. I don't know, but
Judy on Family Matters. She Laura's sister in season 3. She just like disappeared. Never heard from her ever again. Just gone. Totally gone.
Corey and Eric's little sister from Boy Meets World, like she's all sweet and innocent and a cute little girl. She disappears for like 2 seasons and comes back as a little shithead.
As a totally different actress.
Totally different actress, yes.
I liked the original Morgan. I think her name was Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the original actress who played Morgan. She was really funny, and she was cuter than the second one. But I digress. Let's get into enough TGIF commentary right now.
Well, there is one more thing. Because I dropped the ball on this one. You said the email. I need to let everybody know. Go to the Patreon at patreon.com/80slasherlibrarian. You can support the channel for as low as $1 a month. And there's some great perks. And just check it out. You'll have a lot of fun there. There's already a lot of free ebooks there waiting on you. And you'll be helping the channel continue to go and grow. And we're on Cameo. If you want some kind of happy birthday, anniversary advice, you want to make us sing I'm a Little Teapot or something, send the money. We'll do it. It's going to be fun. Link in the description.
Josh actually performed a cameo. Like, he actually got a cameo. You did a cameo last week.
It was weird. I mean, it was fun. Thank you for doing it. It was just a surreal feeling, but it was weird. I was like, somebody wants me to... And I had to do one of my worst voices ever. So, from one of the audiobooks I did.
But you did it. You did a cameo.
I did it.
Yeah.
Hi, Anthony Jim. Not sure if it worked the first time. I only got a 3-second clip out of it, so I'm going to try this one more time to make sure you get a good birthday wish. So here comes Ben, as you requested, from Final Destination Dead Reckoning, the audiobook I've narrated on the channel. Well, hello, Anthony Jim. It's Ben here. You know I've been running around so much trying to survive, but I took a break for a second to wish you a very happy birthday.
I think it's just crazy that we're even on Cameo, to be honest with you, but I think it's even cooler that you actually did a cameo.
I feel like there's a bunch coming. There's a bunch coming. We're gonna.
That was just the birth pain, like the initial cameo that before the gigantic flood of cameos that we're going to be performing. Mean comment, Josh, and this isn't really a mean comment. It's not really a nice comment, but it's more of a nice comment than a mean comment. Okay. So we didn't have any mean comments for this episode. I looked, trust me, I was digging back in previous episodes. So not one mean comment. Here we go. Do more episodes more often. And he's talking about Slash Trax, The Howling. So he's basically saying do more episodes more often. 1 a month is just too long of a time between episodes. And that's from Gulbakin 1804. And he's talking about Slash Trax number 36, The Howling, like I just said. So not a mean comment. Kind of just like a... it's actually a positive comment. He wants more content. What do you have to say about that, about putting out more episodes faster?
If he's talking about the riffs,
I think he is.
I got broken on that one. I don't know what would have happened if we had to watch another shitter right after it. But you never know what the future is going to hold. But we also have the review show, the news. There's going to be a lot of content every month. But who knows? Keep your eyes out. There might be a month where you get a surprise riff or a surprise review. So
yeah. I wrote him back in the comments. I was like, I super appreciate this comment. So does Josh.
Yes, we do.
We both have families. We both work, and it's just hard to pencil it in. And we also do the other shows. So we're doing a show about a week. So whether it be reviews, podcast, or Slash Trax, or getting sidetracked, which, by the way, Slashaholics, we have 2 very special interviews lined up already. So we have 2 celebrities lined up for future episodes. So we're not going to say who they are, but you'll love them.
Yes, you will.
And I just reached out to another celebrity today for a third potential celebrity interview. So if you can kind of read between the lines what Josh and I were talking about earlier, TGIF stuff, it's kind of that the guy I reached out to today is in that same vein. So I think you'll really like that if he agrees to do it. But nice comment to end the first segment. Here's the last nice comment. I mean this. You were the best YouTube riffers I've ever heard, hands down. And that's from Gur Kastani Graz. And that's in regards to Slash Trax number 31, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Wow. Wow.
Best ever. We are the best ever riffers on YouTube, hands down, no question.
I'll take it. Turns out the guys only watched one riff on YouTube, and it was us. But you know what? I'm still taking the compliment. Thank you for that. We were not able to shoot wraparounds because of our schedule at the time for that episode. So thank you for sticking around and watching that. We had a lot of fun riffing it, for sure.
Yeah, that's, you know what? Comments like that are what make what we do and the hard work we put into this show and the money that we spend to, you know, for theme songs and for animations and for all this stuff worthwhile. Because, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people that watch the channel know that we're not monetized. We don't get ad money. So what we do is a labor of love, and any money that we've ever made from the channel was from donations from just, you know, members of the Slashaholic Nation or Patreon stuff, which we appreciate so much, and it helps us so much. And every once in a while, we'll have a sponsor. We've even had sponsors where we don't get paid for the sponsorship. So
just get a game or something.
Yeah. So, you know, we've gotten products and swag and stuff, but we've even had sponsorships where we got nothing, where we performed our end of the bargain and got ghosted. So yeah. So we do this because we like to do it. We love to do it. It's fun, and we're gonna keep grinding away, and we're gonna keep putting out new content, and we're gonna have fun, and it's gonna be awesome. And hopefully, it leads to somewhere where we do get paid more regularly, and we can put out more content more regularly
and up the quality.
Yeah, up the quality too. New mics, new cameras, new laptops. My laptop right now is not working the greatest, but we'll get through it, and we'll move on. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. So you already plugged the Patreon. We're through nice comment, mean comment. We already asked for Dear Slashy questions. Did we already do that?
Yes.
Okay, so we already did that. So we're getting into some fun facts. You ready, bud?
I'm ready.
All right. Josh, July 31st was National Orgasm Day. Did you celebrate?
Let me think real quick. Was that a Sunday? Was that a Monday? It was a Monday. Yes, I did.
You celebrated. You had yourself a nice, juicy orgasm to celebrate. Did you hang your lights up? Did you have a tree up this year?
Oh God, you for a second there, I thought you were asking me a totally different question when you said, "Did you hang?"
Did you hang any lights up? Did you have a stocking for Orgasm Day? Did you have a tree up?
Oh, there were some stockings, all right.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't like the way they looked on me, though, so I took them off, but yeah.
The U.S. government, Josh, has 1.4 billion pounds of cheese stockpiled in a cave in Missouri.
That's real?
This is a real fun fact. Why is there so much cheese stockpiled in Missouri, Josh?
I don't know. That's just like up above me. I'm in Arkansas. I might have to go check that out. Is it like government cheese? Are we talking like commodity cheese? Or...
No, it doesn't say what kind of cheese, but I'm just assuming that it's probably like sharp cheddar, pepper jack, Colby Jack, like good shit.
What's it doing in a cave, and how long is it going to stay good if they keep it stockpiled?
I don't know, but cheese, I love cheese, and cheese is delicious. So my whole issue is global warming is like, I think, an actual thing. I don't want to get political, but like it's 100 degrees right now in Albany, Oregon. It was 102 yesterday. Scientists have gone on record. NASA have stated this is the hottest year we've ever had. Last year was the hottest year we've ever had, and the warming trend continues year after year. They can see that in the future. They're predicting that. So if they have all this wonderful cheese in a cave, hopefully the cave stays cool and doesn't melt. The cheese.
No, the cheese isn't there for us anyways, Alex. I think I figured it out.
For aliens.
you said it's in caves, right?
Yeah.
Like, which are tunnels. What if Missouri is secretly infested with giant cave rats? And this is just one big trap in that cave, trying to catch like the mama cave rat. Like, I'm talking like giant one, brontosaurus size.
Well, we'd have to send some nuclear grizzlies in on behalf of the Slash Trax network just to investigate the situation. What do you think? Hey, comment down below. If this is a giant cave rat where Missouri is stockpiling 1.4 billion pounds of cheese in these caves to try to trap this cave rat, should the Slash Trax network, in an attempt to get a tax write-off, send in some nuclear grizzlies to investigate the situation and possibly fight them? Comment below. What do you think?
And who would win?
And who would? Nuclear grizzly. They just nuke the shit out of it. Although the cheese would be a new Dorito flavored, it would be called nuclear sharp cheddar tortilla chips. Roughly, Josh, 15% of the world's population at this moment, right now, has a headache. So at any given time on planet Earth, 15% of the people on Earth have a headache.
I can agree with that. I have a headache at least once a day.
Okay, what was the numbers on July 31st though? Because July 31st was National Orgasm Day, and orgasms are a natural pain reliever.
Exactly. So I mean, I bet it dropped down to like 9% or something. Maybe like 6% or 9%. I mean, don't put those two numbers together or anything, but like somewhere around there.
The other 7% that are normally suffering from a headache are like, I don't believe in orgasms. We don't celebrate orgasms, so I'm just gonna suffer with my headache. I don't believe in orgasms, Josh.
It's like that one doctor, Alex. All these commercials saying 9 out of 10 doctors recommend it. There's always one doctor that's like, and I'm the doctor that wants you to have anal leakage.
I got a big can of Yellow 5 in his hand. Josh, GoldenEye 007's multiplayer mode was added so last minute that Nintendo had no idea it even existed. Executives discovered it when programmers were playing it. So once it got past the designing phase and like where the game actually exists and they're kind of working the bugs out, that's when Nintendo discovered that multiplayer was even a thing on this cartridge.
Holy crap. I'm so glad they didn't try to take it out or anything, because that's like such a big part of my childhood. Like 11 and 14. Yeah, that would have sucked if because Nintendo did stuff like that. I'll tell you this, a quick story about Nintendo. Did you ever play Yoshi's Story for the Nintendo 64?
I did not. I wasn't a big 64. I played Super Smash and GoldenEye. Pretty much that was it.
Well, I got warned not to play Yoshi's Story because it was like for kids. I was like, oh, come on, I loved Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. So I got it, and it's got 6 worlds in it, and each world has 4 levels. And I would play level 1, and when I beat that level, it would take me to world 2. And I just thought, they just made it too super. There was no hard mode, just made it easy for little kids or something. So my whole life, I never played the other levels. And I found out how just a couple nights ago. I broke out my Wii U and was playing the Virtual Console, and I found out what I'm supposed to do. You're supposed to play it 4 times in a row, and each time you play, you get the next level. So it's weird. It was to make it easier, but
that took you over 20 years. That's a big moment for you, and I'm sure you're very pleased, right?
Yes, my wife is having a trophy made for me. So. Wait, I got to know something. But Jumpin' Jeff, did you know that that's how you're supposed to play Yoshi's Story?
Yep.
You could have told me. I mean, that would have been nice. We got to interview him someday, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Well, we already got feelers out to him. Hey, it's a me, Trophio! Hey, when the executives found out about the multiplayer mode for Nintendo, the executives immediately went to 7-Eleven for snacks, and they had an impromptu sleepover at the Nintendo headquarters, where they didn't shower or bathe for the next 3 days.
That's the headline I want to hear. I wish that's going to be my headcanon for what happened. Miyamoto and all of them at Nintendo. Just...
They're like, multiplayer mode. Like, we got to go to 7-Eleven and get snacks because we're going to be playing this all weekend long.
How did you hold the controller, the N64 controller? I held it on the right and left, and moved my thumb to the middle.
Yeah, I had like right, left, and then whatever I had to do.
Yeah,
I'm picturing it right now.
Did you have any friends that held it in the middle and then on the right? Like they didn't even put their left hand on the left side. They put their left hand in the middle, thumb on the joystick, right hand on the buttons. Like
I've never seen anybody play like that, but it doesn't surprise me because I just was going down a rabbit hole on YouTube a couple days ago, and I was watching the World Tetris Championships on Nintendo. The guy who was the previous Tetris World Champion held the Nintendo gamepad like you would, or me, right to left. The new kid who beat the previous World Champion held it almost like a crab. I'm not even joking. He almost like a laptop. He manipulated it like a keyboard, how he was playing, and he was so much better than holding it normally.
Was it just Billy Mitchell dressed as a kid?
No, Billy Mitchell's a fraud. Now that now we know. There would be no actual game footage of Billy Mitchell playing the game. It would just be him talking about how great he was in 1981 at World Galaxy's video game day or something. And Walter Day's writing some sort of acoustic folk song about some bullshit that never happened. Anyway, Billy Mitchell's going to sue us now if he sees this.
Oh no, he will.
Allegedly, Billy Mitchell, don't come for us. Allegedly, Billy Mitchell didn't get those world records legitimately. We'll just say that.
We will buy your hot sauce. Just don't come after us. Okay?
Yeah, and we love your ties that you wear. They're so
we don't like Stephen Wiebe.
Steve Wiebe, the legend. Hey, Jesse James, the outlaw, once gave a widow who housed him, so she gave him a place to stay, enough money to pay off her debt to a debt collector. And, as a thank you for letting me stay there. Here's the money to pay off a debt collector that has been bothering you. As soon as the debt collector got the money from the widow, Jesse James then held up the debt collector and robbed him for the money that he gave the widow to pay the debt collector.
Wow.
So, paid the debt collector off and then got the money right back. Genius? Is he a genius?
Yeah, that's some super intelligent thinking there. That's the way to go right there. Pay it off, get it back.
Josh, do you think that the money was insured after the lady paid the debt collector? Because it seems like the debt collector might have thought that they were, her and Jesse James were in cahoots, possibly.
Possibly. I don't know. I've never heard the story. It's the first time I've heard it. That's just nuts to me. It's like genius thinking, high IQ there. What do you think? Do you think it was insured?
No, you know what? Back then, well, do I think the money was insured? Possibly, because it was an actual company. But the 1800s was such a different time. I think that once the debt was paid off, they probably did the paperwork. Because if the debt collector was actually showing up, can you imagine if debt collectors showed up to your house now? Collection agencies showed up physically to your house?
I bet some people wish they would, but that's a different topic.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, did you know that it's illegal for a third party to buy old debt? Did you know it's illegal? They can't collect on it. People just don't know that. Yeah, you don't have to pay these people.
You don't. If it's not the people you made the contract with,
yeah,
it's all scare tactics. As a matter of fact, not only is it illegal and you don't have to pay it, but I've had a family member receive a restricted letter in the mail, like a big old thing of documents, and even had somebody deliver papers to their house, not a sheriff's deputy, so it wasn't a real, they weren't really getting served, and they were freaking out, and they even asked my opinion on it, because for some reason, when it comes to anything that people don't understand in my family, they ask me. Like I told you before, I fixed my family's TVs and stuff for them, get them working. Yeah. 6 months later, they call me up. What'd you do to the TV? It won't work anymore. Fixed it.
They're like, Josh can fix the TV. He can fix our credit.
Yeah, I guess so. And no, I looked at the documents, and I'm seeing, and it looks real. I mean, it really looks real. It's scary. Looks like legal documents. There's no address for the courthouse. There's no phone number for the courthouse. there's no notary public signature from the court, and there, on top of everything else, on the very last page both times, was a stamp at the bottom that said, "This is an attempt to collect a debt," yada, 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 that legal stuff they have to put. It's fake. They trick people into thinking if they don't pay at that instant, they're going to have to go to court and like lose everything or whatever. And so if it's not delivered by a sheriff's deputy, you're not being served. And if it says it's an attempt to collect a debt from a debt collector, it's not real court papers. Okay? It's a scare tactic. That's all it is. They'll even call you. I had somebody call before on a hospital bill a long time ago, and they said, "We just need to know when you'll be home so we can serve you with some papers." I'm like, never. Then, yeah, what?
Yeah, quarter past never.
Yeah.
Won't be there, won't answer the door for you.
Thanks for the warning.
Not going to be there. Hey, Josh,
Yeah.
Last fun fact of the episode.
Okay.
The Fountain of Tits in Treviso, Italy, is a 16th century marble fountain.
Does breast milk come out of it?
Of a topless woman squeezing her breasts. The statue sprinkles water from each nipple, and during celebrations, so like during holidays or whatever, so like National Orgasm Day, I'm sure counts. The fountain spouts red and white wine, which is free for the public to drink. So if it's a holiday in Treviso, Italy, the Fountain of Tits is available for all the people of that city to drink from her bountiful offerings of wine from her nipples.
You know what? Tony the Spider, what do you think of that fun fact?
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Tony the Spider.
He's just a man of few words. He just laughs and walks off. Whatever. Okay.
The Fountain of Tits.
I was going to ask if it spit out like milk or something, but red and white wine, are the kids allowed to drink out of that in Italy, or do you have to be like 7 or whatever the drinking age is there?
I don't know. In Italy, everything's different, man. I'm sure little kids can just show up and start drinking out of those titties. I don't know. Who knows?
Somebody just joined the show, just started at that point, and they hear kids can show up and drink out of those titties, and we have a subscriber for life. I guarantee it.
There's going to be a lot of stuff with situations like that in this episode, because some of the stories I have gathered for this particular episode are ridiculous.
Okay.
Josh, would you rather? All right.
Yes.
Would you rather be chronically underdressed or chronically overdressed? To every situation, every function, every anything, you're either always underdressed or you're always overdressed. What say you, Josh?
I'm going to sound like totally narcissistic here, but like the thing I enjoy more than anything is like bugging people that worry about other people so much instead of worrying about themselves. Yeah. So I would rather be underdressed just to make them uncomfortable. That's okay. So yeah.
I'm going to say overdressed, because if I have this problem, okay, and I know I'm like the only person who knows I have to do this, I might as well have some fun with it. So when I show up to like anywhere, at least people will say, wherever I'm going, they're going to be like, "God damn, he looked good." He looked great again today. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. There's one issue with that, though.
What?
I'm going to bring it back to the beginning of the show. It's only going to get hotter going forward, and you're choosing to wear extra clothing.
I thought you were going to say National Orgasm Day, so you're just going to blow a load right in your tuxedo pants. I thought for sure you were going to be taking it to that level.
Yeah, whenever you said, "Did you hang?" I thought you were going to think I was doing something totally different.
No, dude, if I'm in Italy and I'm at the Fountain of Tits, I'm showing up to that son of a bitch in a tuxedo. Yeah, and I'm, oh, what a glorious orgasm day. Just a little bit of red.
and then
a little bit of white.
And then the woman you're doing that to slaps you and says, "Alex, the fountain's over there."
And then a real deputy shows up at my house with actual court paperwork to say that I'm being under arrest for, yeah. So, hey, let me just get this straight for the Slash Trax bingo card. We've covered orgasms, children partaking at the Fountain of Tits, and me assaulting a woman by thinking she was the fountain of tits. Is that where we're going, Josh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. We're keeping that all in. We're not editing any of that out because we can't lose any sponsors because we don't have any fucking sponsors. So.
And we're not being monetized by YouTube, so they can't make us only say family content and bleep out every cuss word.
Yeah. So the views are going to come whether the YouTube wants it or not. So guess what? Enjoy this 20 to 30,000 view episode where we're talking about the fountain of tits. Josh, let's get into sports.
Let's do it.
All right. In December 2019, two rival drug cartels who were being held at Cienfuegos Men's Penitentiary decided to have a friendly soccer match. Okay. So it was set up by the prison, and they had the match. And the friendly soccer match actually ended up with 16 deaths and 5 injuries.
Okay, so just a hair less than normal soccer games, like in the World Cup and everything, like after the riots.
Well, these are the players that died, not the fans in the stands.
Okay.
Those World Cup soccer matches are ridiculous. So like where the fans riot or whatever, and then they end up killing each other, fighting each other. I've seen ones where the mob is so unruly that the stands start to like collapse underneath the fans.
That's crazy.
Stuff. Yeah.
They take their football very serious. And I will say this: I'm not a sports guy, but you can't see it up there, but I'm sitting here doing the politician thing. I'm like, I'm not a sports guy, but I'm not a sports guy. I'm still doing it. Shit, I'm not a sports guy, but I've always thought it's funny that we call our American football.
Mm-hmm.
You use your foot like once or twice the whole game. Like theirs makes sense. Ours should be like handball or something, right? I mean, I don't
understand where the name came from, but it stuck. How about that?
It did. It definitely stuck.
Yeah,
XFL is going to be the next big deal, man. I'm telling you. You wait.
Might be. Hey, after declining a $3 million offer for New York Yankees Aaron Judge's record-setting 60-second home run ball last season, Corey Yarman elected to try his luck at auction. So he turned down $3 million for Aaron Judge's home run record-breaking ball, and he's all, I'm going to take this to auction, and I'm going to get more than $3 million. Well, the auction ended, and it sold for $1.5 million.
Wow. That was a gamble. He
didn't pay off at all.
No. Yeah.
One time you shouldn't bet on yourself, Corey.
The eating your cake and having it too situation going on there. You just can't.
$1.5 million, and that's not even counting that like he sold it at auction. So now he's probably going to have to pay fees, taxes. Yeah. So he ended up losing at least $2 million on that dumbass decision. Wow. Dumb. Slash Trax podcast, Action News, episode number 28, Dummy of the Week.
There it is. Yes. Yeah. Wow. I don't even feel bad for him.
Here's some more football. Lions head coach Dan Campbell says the NFL recently shot down his very own idea to have an actual pet lion on the sidelines during Lions games.
That's genius, though, right? I mean, because we're the Lions. We get a real lion. I mean, come on. Am I talking to myself here?
Just put a little Lions helmet on it. That wouldn't piss it off at all. Put a Lions jersey on it. That wouldn't make it mad.
The other mascot comes over and like throws a Gatorade or something on it. You know how the mascots will get into it sometimes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like in the University of Oregon has the mascot Puddles, which is like looks like Donald Duck. I'm sure you've seen him.
Yeah.
He's always in the top 5 most popular mascots. I'd like to see Puddles fight the actual lion for the Detroit Lions. It's like, and Puddles is mauled and actually pulled ass end out of his costume, and he's being eaten alive on the sidelines, folks. You saw it here first. The lion wins. Just Donald Duck's garbled voice, crying for help, screaming for help, feathers, Oregon Duck, fucking jersey all over the place, blood, just Donald Duck dying.
It's all good. It's all good and fun, Alex, until somebody runs up and tries to take the mascot's head off. You know the mask.
Wait a minute, that's a real lion. Shit. Shout out. Okay, so here's the last sports story of the episode. Shout out to, this is a quote. Shout out to my wife. You already know I'm fiending to come home and bust them guts. Get ready, girl. And this is regarding Derek Lewis's big win after he KO'd his opponent at UFC 291. So on camera, he says he's going to come home and bust his guts wife wide open, and she better be ready.
Well, that was in all fairness, that was July 30th.
Yeah.
So, you know, the next day was orgasm day. So.
Oh my God, you're right.
No, it really was the 30th. I was kidding.
I don't know, but I didn't look. I was going to say, at least we know he celebrates. And apparently his opponent wasn't the only thing he knocked out that night, because he knocked his wife's vajayjay out too later that evening. Bam!
Busting the guts. Oh my God.
Putting your ass to sleep. He put her vagina in a sleeper hold, dog.
Oh my God. Sent her out in the tits.
Yeah, he's going over her that night. Predetermined outcome. Josh, speaking of predetermined outcomes, let's get into wrestling.
Let's do it.
All right. Razor Ramon debuted in the WWF on August 8th, 1992, over 31 years ago.
He debuted on my birthday. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
That is cool. That's cool. Actually pretty cool. What are your thoughts on Razor Ramon as a character? And did you enjoy him just on screen? Did you like Razor Ramon?
Oh, yeah. He was one of the first, other than Bret Hart, one of the first, the next generation, or the new generation wrestlers that I really liked. I loved watching him and, like, Sparkplug Holly, 1-2-3 Kid, Shawn Michaels. I always wanted Marty Jannetty to be a bigger deal than he ended up being, but apparently he got in his own way.
That was his own fault. That was Marty.
Yeah.
Marty was too busy driving motorcycles into hotel lobbies and crashing into water sculptures and water fountains and stuff.
I'm glad that you told me that happened on my birthday, because before knowing that, the only other two things that ever happened on my birthday was, one, my grandpa dying, and the other thing was my birthday was the day I was born was like the 15th anniversary of the Manson murders. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so now I've got something I can like be happy about. It's that's the day Razor Ramon came into our lives, and man, the bad guy was the best. And whenever he walked over that guardrail in WCW, man, and got in the ring, got on the microphone, that's you're never gonna see. And I know I'm showing my age here. You're never gonna see anything bigger than the hype was around the invasion into WCW when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were showing up.
Absolutely changed the face of professional wrestling. And if you weren't around in 1996 to see that, Josh and I encourage you to go to the WWE Network on Peacock and check it out. Go watch some of those older Nitro episodes, and it was like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were being portrayed as Diesel and Razor Ramon defecting from WWF and just showing up unsigned, unannounced, and they're going to take over WCW. It blew my 12-year-old mind. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was some of the greatest shit I've ever seen. And then flash over to WWF. You got Stone Cold, who's being the fucking ringmaster. You've got Duke the Dumpster Drowsy, Doink, Bastion Booger, just a bunch of bullshit.
Hey, Bastion Booger should have been the champion, man. I don't know why he's not in the Hall of Fame yet.
Bastion Booger was supposed to be at Royal Rumble 94 or 95. And I don't know what happened, but like when they count down, like 5, 4, 3, 2, and it like, here comes entrance number whatever. It was supposed to be Bastion Booger, but he just never showed up. They didn't even have a replacement.
They should have had the Shockmaster go out there, just fall down on his way out.
Can you imagine him trying to get all the way, not just from the stage to talk to Sid and all the Dungeon of Doom, but if he had to actually go the full aisle from the backstage to the ring with the goddamn Stormtrooper helmet on? He couldn't make it 3 feet, let alone 100 feet.
It'd be worse than Titus's little entrance that one year.
Dude, he was at that like Saudi Arabia Battle Royal, and he slid underneath the fucking ring. As a matter of fact, Josh, can you hit the Slashaholics with the clip? Can you show the clip of Titus going under the ring?
Let's do it.
Okay, please.
Actually, I have to ask permission first. Jumpin' Jeff, can I show that?
Yep.
Okay, here it is.
One last thought on Razor Ramon before we go to the next wrestling story. he had a really interesting WWF run because when he was first introduced in 92, he kind of went straight to the main event. He wrestled Bret Hart for the WWF Championship at Royal Rumble 93. And then after that, I don't remember him ever really challenging for the WWF Championship ever again. He was firmly in the Intercontinental title picture the rest of his run.
I have a theory about that, but go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was just going to say, it's just really interesting. They like hot-shotted him to the top really quick. And then he lost to Bret, and then he went on to become like the most decorated Intercontinental Champion ever. I think he held, at the time, I don't think it is any longer.
So that's a honky tonk man.
Well, honky tonk had the IC belt the longest at the time, but Razor was like a 4 or 5 time Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
I just think it's really interesting how they did that. He like went from the main event to the mid card, and then when he went to WCW, he was right back to the main event. And then, like after NWO kind of was established, he kind of slid back down to the mid card there. Do you remember that? He was like in the U.S. title picture a lot and
tag titles.
He
even had the TV title for a minute there, I think.
What do you think it was about Scott Hall where they couldn't put him as a main event guy?
It's two things. The first one is I think it's Roddy Piper syndrome. Sometimes a heel does not need the main belt. I know he wasn't heel the whole time. But sometimes a wrestler just doesn't need the belt. The belt's really there to help get someone over, and but I don't think he needed it. But I'm going to lean towards my other one, and this is old Scott Hall because late life Scott Hall had turned his life around and was a totally different person. I think he got in his own way because I guarantee with all the stories we do know about his drinking and his demons, there's probably another 100 stories that we don't know about. Yeah. And the fact that he went from being in the main event to like getting dropped to like the mid card, I have a feeling it probably had to do with something like that because that's not something that just started like in WCW. That was going on back the first time he was in WCW.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it was.
They probably couldn't trust him to like carry that spot.
Yeah.
On the card. You're probably right.
But he's the bad guy. I don't think he needed it. I never once thought he needed the world title. He did his job great, in my opinion. So did Roddy Piper.
To say the least. Scott Hall said something. Well, he said it multiple times, but he always would say, "Do you want to be the champion, or do you want to make a lot of money?" And
that's a good point too.
He didn't care really about being the champion. He just cared about how much money, how many zeros were on the check. So Scott Hall was all about business, and I respect that a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard. And you know what? I also respect the other end, though, too. Like a guy like Bret Hart, who took so much pride in the business and taking a lot of pride in being the champion and carrying the mantle and stuff. So I can see both sides of that, of that argument.
There's a middle, by the way, because on one hand you got the most zeros on the check because that is their job. That's what they don't get into it to go out there and put on. They do it. It's a job. It's to make money. Yeah. And then Bret Hart takes it way too seriously. But even though he can be bitter sometimes, he's always encouraging about the modern day talent that's getting the job done right. He's not afraid to say somebody's even doing better than he did. But the middle would be a certain somebody I met recently who I really hoped it wasn't going to go this way, but I met the Honky Tonk Man at a little convention they had in my town about 2 months ago. And I tried to just go up and talk to him, introduce myself, and I told him about my wrestling and stuff, and talked about how I thought he was one of the best. He was the best Intercontinental Champion of all time, and he was a big inspiration for my heel character. He started complaining. He's like, "Well, it ain't gonna be that way much longer. Gunther's gonna break my record, son of a bitch." Like he was really pissed that a guy in a choreographed sport with storylines was about to break his record as champion. Anybody else would have been like, that Gunther guy's doing pretty good, man. He's about to break my record, but it was more like, son of a bitch, they're gonna let him break my record.
Well, do you know why he was probably upset about that? Because he's the fucking Honky Tonk Man, and like that's his one claim to fame. Like, so when he's at these conventions, what's he gonna sign on his 8x10 now? Second longest tenured IC champion of all time. What do you put on that?
Hey, he can still say that he's not the one that got beat the quickest by the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, Triple H can say that.
Triple H got that one. But no, I mean, and Ferris, is that his name? Wayne Ferris? It's
Wayne Ferris.
He's always kind of had like this bitter thing, and I always thought it was kind of an act when I watch his shoot interviews. But I'm telling you right now, it's not an act.
Yeah, he was
bitter.
He's an actual dick. I've heard multiple stories. I've seen multiple stories. I've heard firsthand accounts of people that have also met him, not just you. He seems like a really genuinely kind of unhappy guy. You know what does make me happy, though? This next wrestling story.
Oh, there's another one.
We got a lot. That was only the first. Razor was only the first one. Over 27 years ago, Josh, on August 10th, Hollywood Hogan defeated the Giant to win the WCW World Heavyweight title, and he proceeded to spray paint NWO on the belt. Do you remember when that happened?
Oh, yeah. That's right. Like, I was a little late to the party. I played catch-up. I mean, I started in 96, but, like, all I remember from that time and when that happened, it was badass because it felt like a gang, tagging something.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I really thought they were going to have an NWO world title and, like, a WCW world title, and I think that's what they were going to do. But they were going to have a Nitro. Nitro was going to be NWO. Thursday was going to be WCW. They were going to alternate pay-per-views, but it didn't go that way. It was badass, but the one thing I remember most is the Giant was more confusing than like somebody in a relationship that can't decide if they're happy or not. It's
he kept flipping from good to bad to good to bad.
Yeah, I couldn't keep up, and he was Andre's son one week, and then the other week he wasn't, and it was a mess, but it was cool. He played his part. I can tell he couldn't wait to get out of WCW though.
His theme music should have been "Hot and Cold" by Katy Perry.
Oh, let's go back in time and give it to him.
The Giant's hot, then he's cold. NWO or no, he's in and he's out.
He's not in the wolf pack. Dude, I actually broke the story in the school paper of him showing up on WWF St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Nobody believed me.
Paul White.
Yeah,
I was his real name.
Yeah, I was because I kept up with the dirt sheets back then, and there was rumors and rumblings about it, and people at school that were wrestling, everybody was wrestling fans then. You got in trouble if you wore NWO or DX stuff to school, and I put that story out, and everybody was like calling me crazy, and they're like, "Dude, Hogan got him the job. He's not going to go. Vince isn't going to let a Hogan guy." I was like, "Watch the pay-per-view," and everybody thought I was like this amazing investigative reporter. After that, all I did was read a few like wrestling forums at the time.
Wait a minute. You're saying that you're not an amazing investigative reporter?
Well, no.
That's how you got the job here.
I might have fibbed a little bit. When I said I did that really big investigative thing, it was actually the Paul White thing.
Okay.
I just changed the names.
Huh.
So yeah.
Per Slash Trax studios and network subsidiary holdings with stocks and the retirement and 401k and everything, you just admitted to some wrongdoing on camera. You lied on your resume.
Wait, Tony the Spider. Is that? Am I in trouble?
If you people only knew.
I would like to know actually. Where'd you get?
Slashaholics, this may be Josh's last episode on Slash Trax Action News because he just put his foot in his mouth.
Oh, God.
Hey, Josh, let's get to the next. Speaking of Hogan, on August 11th, Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea himself, turned 70 years old.
I knew he was a Leo. I knew it was close to my birthday. I always loved Hogan. And happy birthday, Hulkster. And I don't care what people say. You watched out for your spot like anybody else would have done in your situation. And I've been seeing a lot more proof that he did put people over more often than people think he did. He did. And I actually got to meet him one night, and he had like 400 fans, like a big line. He was going to be there for a long time, and the other people were trying to rush him through everything. And when I showed him that I had a race car, that I had a yellow dirt track race car that said, "What you gonna do on it?" and stuff, he sat there and talked to me for like 5 minutes. It pissed everybody off, but he was nice enough to actually sit and talk, even though he was in a hurry. So the dude's not a dick like people think he is.
No.
He was protective of his spot, though, and I get that.
But anyway, Hogan was putting over people like crazy. Hogan even put people over back in the old days. He wouldn't lose cleanly, but he lost to Leaping Lanny Poffo by countout. He lost to the Genius. I mean,
I'll
Hogan
never forget that.
Yeah, Hogan would do things that was good for business. I mean, yes, he didn't do it often, but he was a businessman, and that's why he was in the position he was in for so long.
The only person I feel bad. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Roddy Piper did the same thing to his detriment a little bit. I think had Roddy Piper actually lost a few more matches cleanly, he could have made more money. Yeah. But Roddy had a really rough childhood, and he was very protective of anything that was going to take food out of his mouth. And I understand why he was the way he was. But go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, Roddy Piper, though, I'll get to Hogan. I'll just say this real quick. Hogan put him over clean with the sleeper hold, and a lot of people don't even think about that. They did, like, flub the whole, is the belt on the line, is it not on the line? And don't forget that Hogan put Goldberg over on a Monday Nitro, which I still think was a stupid thing. It was awesome, don't get me wrong, it got the ratings. They could have, just imagine the pay-per-view buyout, the buy rate for that, you know?
That's a main event at Starrcade.
Yeah, it was, I know why they did it. They were trying to keep the rating on their end, but they really should have done that on a pay-per-view. Okay, but what I was going to say is the only person I feel sorry for in Hulk Hogan's wake is Macho Man Randy Savage, because in WCW, anytime Macho Man won the belt, you could do it like a clock, man. You could set your clock to it, that the next night, within 24 hours, Hulk Hogan was going to beat him for the belt. It happened like 2 or 3 times, man. Like, if Macho Man won the belt, it even happened in 99, man, when Hogan was doing the Hollywood Hogan, but the good guy Hollywood Hogan, not the NWO Hollywood Hogan, before the Terry Bollea and coming back in red and yellow. Macho Man went out there, he won on the pay-per-view, showed up the next night on Nitro, and he's like, I challenge anybody, oh yeah, but not Kevin Nash. And Hogan comes out, and I'm like, oh shit, Hogan's going to win the belt. And he did.
I think I saw something that said, I think Macho won the belt from Flair in WWF and WCW 2 or 3 times, and each time he won the belt from Flair, he immediately lost the belt to Hogan.
Yeah.
So Macho was always the transitional champion between Hogan and Flair.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But Macho Man, you say you feel sorry for him, but it's like, had Macho not been up in game to do that, they would have never put the belt on him. They're probably like, we can trust him to put the belt on him, so then he'll drop the belt. Because there were probably some wrestlers that were like, if you put the belt on me, you're going to have to, like, pry this away from my cold, dead hands. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, I just would have liked to see Macho Man, especially 99 Macho Man with the whole madness thing, run with the belt for a couple months, you know? And I know that's like 2 months would be the longest WCW title reign in history at that point.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool, to see. But Macho Man, give me your best Macho Man agreeing to win the belt for 24 hours and then dropping it to Hogan for the 3rd time.
You're telling me that Macho's gonna have the belt here. 24 hours. Yeah.
Yep. Not 23, not 22, not 25.
Thinking about the payday, and I'm gonna have to say I dig it, Macho's down for business, book it. Dig it.
All right, cool.
On last wrestling story of the episode, on July 31st, 27 years ago, the American hero Kurt Angle won the gold medal in freestyle wrestling with a broken freaking neck.
I love that he's so humble, because if anybody else did that, they probably would tell that story like every chance they got. But he was not only just the American hero, he didn't act all braggy about it, So
Kurt Angle, most underrated natural heel ever.
Yeah.
It was like, he's an American hero. He did all these amazing things. He's this freak athlete. You think, and he's handsome. He had really good hair when he first went into WWF. You would think this is a natural babyface, but just the way he was and the way he spoke of his accolades and stuff, it's like he's a heel. He is not a natural babyface. He's a fucking heel. and whenever he was a babyface, it didn't seem natural. He was a way better heel. I will say this about Kurt Angle. First 6 years of his professional wrestling career, I would put up against anybody. Uber talent, uber technical, great promo. Looked like he actually genuinely enjoyed doing what he was doing. There's film of him, like when he shows up with that tiny cowboy hat when he's talking to Stone Cold. That's hilarious. When he, like, the woo, and he's like pulling the singlet down. The Milkamania, the milk truck. Just basically anything he was doing where he was trying to be friends with Stone Cold during that time frame was just gold. Yes. Where he wanted to teach Shawn Michaels how to tap out, so he first had to teach Marty Jannetty how to tap out. So he's got to put Marty in an ankle lock first. So Marty.
That's what happened to his ankle. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what happened to Marty. That's why Marty's ankle's so fucked up in the. What is this show called? What is this?
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring, the season finale of Dark Side of the Ring. If you guys haven't seen it, Marty Jannetty's ankle is swollen 10 times the size of a normal ankle.
And
all that stuff gold though.
Yeah, tune into the next episode. We're going to be interviewing him. We promised him that he could tell any story that he wants. So he wants to come up and just brag about everything.
Well, didn't you try to book Marty Jannetty on a independent wrestling show?
And he wanted $5,000 or something. Go ahead.
So he wanted a lot of money, but didn't he want something else too?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
a few other things that I wasn't going to go out and get for him. So.
Yeah, Marty allegedly wanted some party favors in addition to the huge payout.
Share. I mean, I don't do that. I don't do that for people. I don't do that. But yeah, that's a true story.
Okay, but I will say Marty Jannetty had a lot of talent. But Kurt Angle, to put a little bookend on the Kurt Angle stuff, I wish he never went to TNA. I wish he had stayed in WWE. His addictions were just, his painkillers and drinking were just so out of control. He was like calling Vince McMahon in the middle of the night, threatening to kill him, actually telling Vince McMahon he was going to go kill him. Just a bunch of weird addict behavior that got out of control towards the end there.
He did, whenever he did that though, he just told Vince that it was Nels. He's like, "This is Nels. I'm gonna finish the job this time."
Vince, this is Nels. After I'm done with the boss man, I'm gonna come for you at SummerSlam.
It's so funny that you mentioned Marty Jannetty and him in the same thing, because if there's two wrestlers that really got in their own way, it would be Marty Jannetty. No, yeah, him too. But no, Marty Jannetty and Kurt Angle, they have that in common. They got in their way a lot.
Marty more so than Kurt, but Kurt a lot. And Nails, definitely Nails, because he actually physically choked out Vince McMahon in his office.
He gets points for that from me. I'm sorry. He gets points for that.
And then a guy like Bastion Booger and Duke the Dumpster Drosy did everything they had to do, showed up to all their matches. Company men ended up with the shit end of the stick. What are you gonna do?
I know. They never got the chances they should have got. Kind of like this other guy. His name is I can't say his name, or he's gonna say that thing, and we're gonna have to cut away. But yeah, no, I agree with you. A lot of people got in their own way and screwed shit up. But that's life. You live, you learn. If you're a wrestling fan, for sure, check out that Dark Side of the Ring episode. It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Marty's story. There's a lot more going on there than I knew, and that's if it's true. I'm gonna say at least 60% of the episode's true.
Hey, so apparently, before we get into spooky and horror of the episode, apparently in the actual fist fight that Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty had in the hotel, which led to their real life breakup. Okay, so Shawn punches Marty in the face. Okay. Marty mounts Shawn, starts beating the shit out of him. Somehow Shawn ends up throwing Marty through a glass window on the first floor of the hotel. Is that a little bit of foreshadowing later on when Shawn puts Marty through the barbershop window? Did the WWF writers just take the real story that happened and then they're like, shit, let's just do it on the barbershop now?
Yeah, that's what I think. I really believe that. And I know I think it's true. The barbershop thing's such a big deal because, that valet of Brutus the Barber Beefcake that I've never heard of in my life before.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden she's an expert on everything that happened back then.
His wife, but she's married.
She's so important. I mean, she's like, and I'm Sasha something something Beefcake, you know, valet, famous valet, and all that. It's like, what?
You're like, who are you? You're literally only in this interview because Brutus said he wouldn't do the interview if his wife couldn't be in the interview.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah,
and I was going to say earlier, Honky Tonk Man needs to be thankful he was Intercontinental Champion at all, because if Brutus hadn't hurt his face, Brutus would have been the longest running Intercontinental Champion in history. You don't believe me? Ask Brutus yourself.
Well, Brutus was the person who was supposed to wrestle Honky Tonk Man and take the belt at that pay-per-view, and then Ultimate Warrior showed up as a replacement.
Because he hurt.
Happy accident. But you're right. Actually, I know you were trying to be funny, but Brutus was supposed to go over and get the IC belt there. But
yeah, I got it mixed up. I meant, yeah, he was supposed to beat Honky Tonk, but I'm saying, like, it could have been Brutus. I don't really believe the story. A lot of people say that, but then a lot of people say that's not what was going to happen. I was just trying to say, if you don't believe me, ask Brutus yourself. He'll tell you. So.
You know, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, this is the last thing I'll say about wrestling.
I like
some of the best theme music.
Yeah.
I really liked his theme music, and if you go back and watch some old pay-per-views, I know everybody shits on Brutus the Barber Beefcake because he just carried Hogan's bags and all this and that. That all may be true. Okay? That may be true. But if you go back and watch some of those old pay-per-views where Brutus is introduced and he comes to the ring, he gets huge pops.
Yes. He was
He's
good.
Popular.
He was good. Yes. I hate that he's in the shadow of Hogan, because not only was he a good performer, had good charisma, but the dude can also be in the top 30 WCW wrestlers of all time, and he can be in the list like 6 times. So he can have 6 spots in the top 30 WCW stars of all time. That's amazing.
Dude, when I found out that he was the disciple, that
blew my mind.
It blew my mind. It looked nothing like Brutus Beefcake. He had a beard. He was just jacked. He wore biker gear. I couldn't believe that Brutus Beefcake was the disciple. Josh, let's get into some horror news.
Let's do it.
Okay. On August 3rd, 1986, over 37 years ago, Jason Lives was released in theaters. So, Jason Lives.
Yeah.
Could kind of interesting that I bring that movie up. What's your thoughts on Jason Lives, Josh?
I really like Tommy Jarvis's character in that.
Me too.
You know, played by Tom Matthews, also a great guy. Return of Living Dead series. The only thing I don't like about Tommy in that movie is technically anybody who dies in that movie, it's Tommy's fault.
Yeah, he resurrected Jason.
Yeah.
Because of his OCD.
I know the movies aren't connected, but if somebody was watching them for the first time and they watched part 5 and they saw Tommy having that nightmare at the beginning where 2 people are resurrecting Jason, and then they watch part 6 when he does that, they might be like, whoa, was that like a premonition of what he was going to do later on? You know,
him and Horshack show up from Mr. Cotter's class at the asylum, and they're going to go see if Jason's actually dead. So, you know, Tommy is going to light him on fire or something, or
burn his body, stab him with he's going to pin him down with a metal pole or whatever.
Yeah, he steals him. He stabs him with that lightning rod and electrocutes him, brings him back to life. Horshack gets slaughtered and thrown into the grave. But yeah, it is Tommy's fault, actually. I will say this. Jason Lives is one of the most entertaining Friday the 13th movies in the entire franchise. It's innovative. It's different. And Tom McLaughlin, who you interviewed on this channel, they tried to get him back for multiple horror movies. And he actually worked on Freddy's Nightmares, too, the TV show. But he wanted full creative control on certain other future films they wanted him to work on, and they wouldn't let him have it. But Tom McLaughlin, underrated, A Beautiful Mind of Horror, and that's a great film. It's fun. The tone is lighter. It's got a lot of nods to the previous movies and the previous directors, like Cunningham Road, Karloff's General Store. There's a bunch of stuff like that.
And the movie is an homage to the classic Universal monsters. That's why Jason was brought back with electricity, like lightning. That's why he had that scene with that little girl Nancy and didn't kill her. It was like Frankenstein with the little girl and the flower and everything.
Yeah, they don't kill kids.
Yeah. It's and he did also have Elias Voorhees written into the scripts.
He did.
He did.
Yes,
and
I know
it
he
took
did.
it out. And if you want to know how that would have went, the audiobook I did of Jason Lives, the novelization covers the Elias story in the epilogue, and it's pretty cool. I would have liked to have seen that in the movie. They probably wouldn't have followed it up with anything, but it would have been interesting to have it in the set. So,
Jason Lives, the only Friday the 13th installment to be featured in an episode of Highway to Heaven. I'm not even joking.
that's crazy. I had no idea.
So Tom McLaughlin's wife, who was in the film, is the one who has she tries to bribe Jason with the American Express card. And she dies in the mud puddle, and the American Express card is like floating. She was in an episode of Highway to Heaven as like the ticket booth girl. And part of the premise of the episode was this kid wanted to go see the Jason movie, but he couldn't get an adult to go with him. But at the end of the movie, he makes a friend, and the friend takes him to the movie who's over 18. So that's the movie, okay?
Okay.
So they're featuring Jason Lives in this episode of Highway to Heaven, and the girl who's in in Jason Lives is also in the Highway to Heaven episode. If you didn't watch horror and Highway to Heaven like I do, you'd never know it. You'd never know it. But you're welcome, Slashaholics. There's your Michael Landon and Tom McLaughlin connection for the day.
And here's one for you. How about a Tom McLaughlin, Jason Voorhees, John Travolta connection?
Oh, I got it. I got it.
John, you knew that?
The Court, the boy in Jason Lives, is John Travolta's first cousin, right?
Yeah, the one that's driving the RV.
He's the one who's driving the RV, right? And he's all, what are you doing back there, taking a dump?
Yeah. That's John Travolta's like first cousin or nephew or whatever.
If you go back and look at that movie, Jason Lives, they look a lot alike.
And if you also go back and look, there's like this thing on top of the RV. I think Tom, or it was either Tom was wanting to keep it as like a Kohler or something. I can't remember what it was. Okay. And so he put it to the side and he said, I'm keeping it. Nobody touched this. Well, as a prank, before they wrecked the RV, the crew went and tied it to the top of the RV so it would get destroyed when they did the stunts. Okay. So that, if you look on top of it, there's something up there that wasn't there like in a shot before or something. And they did that as a prank to the director or producer. So
that's fantastic. Hey, one more connection. Here's one more connection. Welcome Back Kotter connection. So we're going Horshack, who's with Tommy Jarvis in the opening scene.
Yeah.
And John Travolta's nephew, right? John Travolta was in Welcome Back Kotter. Bada bing for the win. Alex wins. Yeah, there you go.
That blew my mind bigger than The Disciple being Ed Leslie.
Brutus Beefcake.
You know, the night it happened, I was like, oh my God, The Disciple? Do y'all know that's the man with no name? The Booty Man? The Zodiac? I went through the whole list. And
unbelievable.
I was like,
all right, second horror story of the show. Scream 7, Josh, which has been greenlit, has a director, Josh.
It has a director named Josh?
No.
I'm not interested.
They officially have tabbed a director for the upcoming smash hit Scream 7. Do you have any idea who it is?
Who? David Arquette.
I wish. No. Christopher Landon, who directed Happy Death Day 1 and 2.
Okay. I'm still not interested, but yeah.
The tone, if he's happy, I don't know if you guys have seen Happy Death Day 1 and 2, the tone is very comedic. Is that where they're going to try to take this series? Like a comedy kind of?
I say get Wes Anderson to do the next one and really take it in a different direction.
Scream 8. You're already skipping 7. We're going to 8. Yeah.
Just take Wes Anderson. You know, he can do it. And that would be a totally different shift in the story for sure, you know. It'd be like the Royal Tenenbaums meets Friday the 13th or something.
And Catherine O'Hara, Kevin McAllister's mom's going to be in it, Eugene Levy. Best in Show 2 is a horror movie. So Scream 7 is coming out. They had just made Scream 5 and 6 the last year and a half.
Yeah.
This feels very Nightmare on Elm Street 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Like they're trying to milk whatever money they can out of the franchise as quickly as possible before it's too late. And
it's too late.
we're literally one step away from Scream in Space.
Dude, I would watch that one. I would actually watch that one. I would. If they did something different, I would actually watch it. I have not seen part 6. I did watch part 5 because Alex gave it to me for free.
Yeah.
I refuse to pay anything to watch part 6.
Do you know what the tagline for Scream in Space would be?
What?
In space, nobody can hear you scream.
Of course it would be. Oh, that would just be the name of the movie. It would just be in space, no one can hear you, and then scream real big.
Scream.
Dude, we just sold the movie. Call MERIDA.
Fuck. We just inadvertently sold the movie that we don't want made.
And David Arquette could come back as like an android or something, you know, with like all that bad nerve damage and stuff. Because this time he's eviscerated, but he's Sydney. I got you.
He doesn't have to fake. Hey, he wouldn't even have to fake any of the injuries because he sustained all of them in actual indie wrestling matches.
Dude, that dude's a bat. Did you ever watch that documentary?
Yeah.
Like people, you've got to see that. I gained respect. He earned my respect for what the stuff he did back in WCW. Watch it. He goes in the backyard and wrestles with backyard wrestlers at one point, and he does a death match and fucking gets his neck just spurting blood out, and he finishes the match.
It's horrible. David Arquette, going all the way back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was the first time I ever saw David Arquette, by the way. I like him in everything.
Now I'm thinking Paul Rubens, man.
I like him in everything he's done. And also, I'm glad you brought that up. Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman. I never wrote it as a story because it's really sad to me. Because I was gonna say something really quick. Since you brought it up, let's just do it right now.
I'm sorry.
Let's dedicate the episode to Pee Wee.
Yes.
To Paul.
Yes.
Okay, so this episode is dedicated to Paul Rubens. And also, I wanted to say, I heard somebody talking about Pee Wee when he passed away. I watched a bunch of media on him, and he said that when he was a kid, Pee Wee was like his first friend, right? So when you watch Pee Wee Herman, Pee Wee's Playhouse, it was like Pee Wee was inviting you over to his playhouse to play, and he's like talking directly to you. So it was almost like Blue's Clues before Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
So I tried to wrap my mind around that, and I was like 4, 5, and that totally makes sense. Like Pee Wee Herman was actually my first friend.
He's always a little kid.
Yeah, I think that's why his death affected me so much. And I also saw something else that Paul Rubens did. His last quote that he ever released on I think it was his Facebook. He apologizes to the fans for not telling everyone that he was dying of this disease. So that's what kind of a human being he was. He apologized for not keeping us in the loop. So it's like something you don't have to apologize for that, Paul. No. But that just shows the character he had.
Yes.
He definitely was canceled in 1991 when he got caught in that adult theater.
Doing what everybody does there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and every time I tell this story to someone now and they don't know it, they're like, what are you talking about? What else would he be doing in an adult theater? So I think it was just because he had a kid's show.
Yeah.
But if anything, people should have been like, okay, he's like a normal person. Like he's into chicks. Because I remember when I was younger, people would be like, oh, Pee-wee's a homosexual, Pee-wee's a child molester, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, the thing he actually got canceled for was watching a male and a female on a screen in an adult movie. So it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's like it automatically is supposed to make him a predator or something like.
Yeah, I don't know.
boycotting a place around here one time, boycotted a gay Santa in the mall. And they're like, well, I don't want my boy sitting on his lap. I was like, but you let your girls sit on a straight Santa's lap, you know?
Exactly. So they're ipso facto, they just like kids all of a sudden? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I just learned something new today. Another one of my favorite movies. I didn't even know Paul Rubens voiced this thing. I knew that the character I'm about to say did a Pee Wee line in the movie, but I didn't know Paul Rubens voiced it. Max from Flight of the Navigator, the AI thing. Mm-hmm. Did you know that was Paul Rubens?
I didn't know it until this week. I actually saw that.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that either. That's one of my favorite movies growing up. So I did not mean to get off the horror track here. It's just you brought up Buffy.
Well, I appreciate it because he was great in Buffy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, when he's dying, when he's dying and he's like kicking the ground and he's like, ugh, and then he's playing the violin behind him. The whole scene is great. Paul Rubens was a master character actor. He was good in everything. He was in the Blues Brothers. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
He was the waiter in the Blues Brothers at the French restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Young.
He was really close. He was really close with Phil Hartman. He was really close with Elvira, Cassandra Peterson. They were all in the Groundlings together.
Cheech and Chong.
He's in that film. Paul Rubens was a beautiful person. He did a lot of really great things. He was different. He was unique, and that's why the Pee-wee character, because he was innocent, but yet he had some playfulness behind his eyes. Yeah. He knew what he was saying. He knew what he was doing, but it was done in a really innocent kind of way. And he's definitely going to be missed. So I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, for Paul. I was going to say Tim Burton and him working together, it was just perfect. I can still watch that movie any day of the week.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
Uh-huh.
Can you show a clip of Pee-wee when he goes to Francis's house and he's talking to his butler and he's questioning what Francis is doing and he says he's taking a bath? Can you show that clip?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I love the guest general managers. That was a cool thing for a while. It was fun. But I was going to say, I always thought it was really cool that a few years ago he got to play the role of Penguin's father again. This time with lines. He was in Batman Returns with no lines. And then on Gotham, he played the new Penguin. He played his father, and he was like in a whole episode with him. And that was really cool to get to see him revisit that character.
That is correct. I didn't know that. You know what I did? So speaking of him in the Batman movie, Penguin's mother, who's in Batman Returns with him, is actually the waitress from Pee-wee's Big Adventure when she helps him get from the diner where he's doing dishes to the next town or whatever.
And she plays the mom on Gotham. Did you know that? I
did not know that.
Yeah, they got her and Paul to play the parents of Penguin again on Gotham, and they actually had lines and episodes. It was really cool.
So do you think, well, I mean, obviously, like Tim Burton cast Pee-wee and her in Batman Returns because they were both in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't even remember much of the other Pee-wee movie. Big Adventure's always...
Big Top Pee-wee?
Yeah. I know he did the Surfing Bird or something, right? Was that one, or? He
was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure is the first movie. Pee-wee, Big Top Pee-wee, he's like he's a circus or whatever. They moved to his town. And actually, Blade, Christopher, he was a Christopher Cross or he played Whistler, Blade's mentor. Okay, I don't know what's his real name?
Crap, I know what you're...
Christopher Cross, something like that. He was a country music singer, but anyway,
Chris Christopherson.
Chris Christopherson was the guy who was in charge of the circus that came to... So he's in a Pee-wee movie and a Blade movie. Now that's a man's man.
That wasn't a Tim Burton film, right? The Big Top.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a Tim Burton movie, and it also wasn't even at the same movie studio. So that's why they couldn't like put him in the same Pee-wee universe because it wasn't by the same movie studio. And then the Netflix movie Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't really sold on it when it first came out in 2016, but I rewatched it since Paul passed away. And it actually, I'm not just saying this because I love Pee-wee Herman. It holds up. It's better now than it was when I watched it in 2016. So, Slashaholics, you should go and check that out on Netflix. Pee-wee's Big Holiday. It's actually really funny.
I think that me and you sometime, as a dedication to Paul, maybe for the Patreon or something, we should do like a straight commentary for Pee-wee's Big Adventure or something like that.
I'll do that whenever you want to do it. And I'm all for that, and I'm all for anything Patreon related because I'd like to give back to the channel.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's get into the next horror story.
Yes.
Damien Leon, the writer and director of the Terrifier films, so Art the Clown, recently stated he'd love to see a crossover versus film featuring Art the Clown and Freddy Krueger.
Well, they're both kind of supernatural beings and stuff. I mean, I don't know how you would tie them together unless the entity that is always bringing Art back somehow. I don't know. I don't know. I'd kind of like to see like a Jason versus him myself, but at least he didn't say Pennywise, because Pennywise is more than just a clown, people. He's like a god, but yeah.
Do you know what I thought when I heard that quote or read it?
What's that? You wish?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does feel like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would love to have Art the Clown versus Freddy, because that would be an opportunity to have like a legitimate actual horror slasher legend icon versus his pile of shit. And hey, Slashaholics, I've already said it in previous episodes. I'm not a big fan of the Terrifier films. They're just gore. They're gory. They're pointless.
If they were made in the 80s, Art would probably be one of the main slashers or whatever, but they're not. It's I can see why people get into it now, but it is a lot more gory than they were back then. Like, some of it's just too gratuitous.
Listen, it's just like gore for the sake of gore.
Yeah.
I can understand why people like it. The design of Art the Clown, I will say this, the character design is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The portrayal of Art the Clown, the man who actually plays him, is doing a great job with what he's given. And he's probably 100% responsible almost for the success of those films, because he's doing a great job. Now, as far as the way the film is written and the way that the kills happen and some of the stuff they do in it, it's just not for me. Hostel 2 and even the first Hostel, I enjoyed the first Hostel, but there's scenes in that movie that are just unnecessary, and it's like torture porn to me.
It is torture porn. That's what it is.
So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
I was gonna make one observation here.
Yeah.
There's rumblings going around that Art's gonna be joining Dead by Daylight as well. I did drop that in the last episode that Alien was finally coming to Dead by Daylight, right?
I think you did say it, but if you didn't, say it again.
Yeah, it's come. Since then, they've released a full trailer for it. It is coming with a map, the planet where the aliens are from, and like the ship from the first movie is going to be crashed on it. That's the map. You can use a flamethrower to hurt the alien. It's the first time in the game you can hurt one of the killers.
Okay.
And they are going to have Ripley as the survivor. She's designed differently because they couldn't get Sigourney Weaver, so it's kind of resembles. Laurie Strode's the same way. Laurie Strode's they couldn't get Jamie Lee Curtis to agree to it, so Laurie Strode in the Michael chapter for Dead by Daylight looked a little different too. But it looks pretty cool. They're adding Alien, and there's rumblings going around that Terrifier is going to be coming up in the game sometime in the future too. That's all.
Well, I was going to say, like, a lot of people love Art the Clown. I'm in the minority of that. So, and I own it. But if he's on Dead by Daylight, they do a great job with any of the horror icons that they've included in that game, and that'll be really good.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be really good. Maybe in the future we can get some screenshots or captures, like screen images of some of these horror icons in Dead by Daylight, and maybe just like flash them so people could see what we're talking about. Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I don't know. Or maybe even a playthrough, dude. Maybe you could do a playthrough for the channel.
Yeah, I could do a set of killer matches where I play the killer, and I'll just do all the licensed ones in a row. For any players that have the game, August 29th, it's going to drop on all systems. So
it's going to
be cool.
That sounds awesome. You know what else is awesome?
RVD. Oh, what?
Oh yeah, RVD is in AEW right now. Friday the 13th, Part 7, the screen-used Jason mask. So the one that Kane Hodder wore in The New Blood, recently sold at auction for $75,000.
Wow. That's
cool.
I'm actually surprised it didn't sell for more though.
Yeah, me too, because that's Kane Hodder's first appearance on screen as Jason. The New Blood, I wouldn't say The New Blood is like critically acclaimed, but I think a lot of Jason fans enjoy that movie because it's just something different. It's like him versus a Carrie ripoff, with an adversary who could actually fight back. I mean, she's throwing houses at him. She's collapsing stairways on him. She's choking him with light bulbs. There's a lot to be liked in that movie.
There is. His back whenever you see him get out of the water.
John Carl Beekler did such a good job with the design of Jason in that movie. John Carl Beekler, the brain and the spirit behind Ghoulies Go to College, also directed this film and did the special effects on The New Blood. But the design of Jason is just iconic. Kane Hodder did some really great stuff with the movement, the body movement of Jason, the heavy breathing, which I just heard a critique on the Kane Hodder breathing, by the way.
Oh my God.
Jason's dead. He doesn't need to breathe. Why is he breathing?
His lungs would still they'd still be mushy and stuff. It would still make some noise. It would still suck some in. Just leave Kane Hodder alone, people. He's the man. He'll kill you. He says so.
$75,000 for that mask. If I had expendable income like that, that'd be something that I would like to have in a collection, for sure.
I'd like to have the Uber one myself, but yeah, the 7 was great. I actually like the mask from Jason X before he goes Uber. You brought up Friday the 13th, 7 and 8 and stuff, so I want to say one thing that just drives me crazy about the Friday the 13th series.
Just one thing?
One of the bigger things, and I think we brought this up with Adam too, and I think I brought it up with Tommy McLaughlin. The years between sequels make it where, like, by the time we get to part 8, it should be taking place in like 1998 or something.
Yeah.
It's like the world just never moved forward. It's still
they still 80s. They still have like a rotary dial phone. Everybody's still dressing like it's 1986.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I saw some Nightmare on Elm Street timelines too, and you know how in like Freddy's Dead it's like 5 years later, like, or 10 years or whatever, like all the Springwood kids are dead. So what year is it? 1999? Are we 5 years after Dream Child, or 5 years after Dream Master?
Or New Nightmare.
Or 10 years after. I think it might say 10 years after. But and then Freddy's Revenge happens Freddy's Revenge happens 5 years after the events of Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street happened in 1984. Okay? So Freddy's Revenge would be in 1989. So then you go like to Dream Warriors, where Nancy is like a full-fledged doctor at this point. So she must have went to school for at least 6 years to get her college degree and a doctorate, or maybe 8 years. So then you're 1992 at that point. So did Dream Warriors happen after the events of Freddy's Revenge? And I guess it did, right? I guess it should have. That makes sense continuity-wise. But then
continuity.
The continuity, and then Freddy's Dead. Like, it's kind of all over the place with their years. I'm confused, but I think horror movies, they get new directors and they get new writers for the films. And I think for the most part, they're just like, I'm writing my own thing, and I'm not really paying attention to what happened before. Do you think that's what it is? Because it's just it's just a horror movie, whatever. Like, I'm gonna have my own vision up here.
Yeah, because I remember I asked Adam, I was like, hey, is the reason that Jason's head's all swollen and Jason goes to hell and he's wearing different clothes, is that because, and the mask is like melted to his face, and it's like when it comes off, there's like bone and stuff. Is that because he got hit with the toxic sludge at the end of part 8? And because it would make sense, because he would get his mask because it didn't melt all the way, and he'd like push it into his face. And
valid question on your part too, by the way. And I was there for the interview, so it was a great question.
And he was all like, and he said that too. He's like, that's a good connection, but no, I just wanted to do something different, you know. Okay. And so as a kid, I thought that's what it was, because I knew he didn't really turn into a child. A lot of people think Jason, turned into a child. What happened is that girl had been hallucinating Kid Jason the whole movie.
Rennie.
So when she saw Jason, screaming and getting washed away, she just pictured him as like a scared little kid again that had just drowned or was drowning. So the real Jason didn't turn into a kid. He washed out into the ocean with toxic sludge melting his body and stuff. And he probably had to go get another set of clothes and put his mask back on. So,
well, we also established that Rennie was basically the real killer in that film, because she like hallucinates after doing dope in the alleyway with those two gangbangers. She like hallucinates that Jason's like in front of the car. She slams the car into the building and then kills her teacher, which was the only actual parental figure she had that loved her.
Yes.
So she killed her teacher. She's a murderer, right?
And there's got to be a reason that out of the 5 Black Flame original Friday the 13th books here on the channel, narrated, by the way. 3 of them were written as alternate versions of Part 8 for fans that this could be Part 8, this could be Part 8, this could be Part 8. Church of the Divine Psychopath, Hate, Kill, Repeat, The Jason Strain. All 3 of them, the authors of them, wrote them as alternates to Part 8. There's got to be a reason that 3 different authors wanted to make a different version of Part 8.
Yeah,
so,
Part 8 is a mess.
Part
Jason
8 is a mess.
Vancouver. You know what else is a mess?
Our riff of Jason Takes Manhattan that you should check out on the channel as well because it's quite hilarious. Episode 12.
The headlines tonight are a mess.
Oh boy, I've been waiting for this.
Buckle up, Josh. Here it comes.
Click, click. All right.
Cocaine sharks.
Yes.
Cocaine sharks might be feasting on drugs dumped off of the Florida coast, according to scientists. The Discovery Channel investigated this exact possible occurrence during Shark Week earlier this year. So scientists performed a study where they were trying to see if great white sharks had been feasting on cocaine that was, lost by drug smugglers off the coast of Florida. This is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard of in my life. And the last species of any animal on this planet besides saltwater crocodiles or grizzly bears that need cocaine are fucking great white sharks.
Somebody's listening right now going, oh, I thought you said cocaine sharks at first. That's a totally different thing. No, the cocaine shark thing, I heard about it. It was like different breeds too, not just great white. Like there were hammerheads and stuff, like acting crazy, right?
Because of ingesting cocaine on the bottom of the ocean.
They were over there like pulling guns on each other and stuff. And no, it's a sequel to Cocaine Bear, Cocaine Sharks. It's coming, folks.
Cocaine sharks versus nuclear grizzlies versus jumping Jeff Farmer. Coming to the channel.
Would you jump in on that battle, Jumping Jeff? Would you fight a cocaine shark?
Yep.
He's got balls, man.
Yeah, he does.
Balls.
Do you got any thoughts on cocaine sharks? Do you think this is a real thing? Do you think sharks are actually ingesting cocaine?
I think it's possible. It's going to suck because when the supply runs out, they're going to, instead of attacking people, they're going to be, coming up to the beach, trying to rob people's money from them and stuff.
Yeah. You can't invite them over to your house anymore because they'll steal from you to get more coke.
I think we're 2 seconds away from cocaine sharknado, but go ahead.
Anytime you invite the shark over to your house, you have to lock up your good shit, and anytime the shark calls your house, they're trying to borrow money for more coke.
Yeah. You have to get them some help. The first step is admitting you have a problem, great white shark.
Yeah. Any relationship you have with a great white shark or a hammerhead shark right now, if it's going well, it could be compromised because of their habitual and chronic use of cocaine.
Go ahead.
No, what were we going to say?
I saw a video of a boat coming across a polar bear swimming in the ocean towards land. And I was just thinking cocaine shark / cocaine polar bear. It just popped in my head. But yeah, go ahead.
Versus nuclear grizzly. So next headline.
Okay.
This one is better than cocaine sharks.
Boy, is it better than cocaine or better than cocaine sharks?
I think this lady's on cocaine. Woman with 9 months left to live asked her husband if she can sleep with her ex-lover just one last time. So the husband, this is the gist of the story. The husband has been trying to make his wife's last 9 or 10 months on this earth as enjoyable as possible, trying to grant everything she could possibly want, make her as comfortable as possible. And the wife asked the husband if she could have sex with her ex one last time.
Wow.
What is your thoughts on this?
Wait, where did that last story take place? Off the coast of what?
Florida.
Okay. I'd be like, you know what? Yes, you can. And I'm actually going to take you two on a vacation. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to go out on the coast of Florida. We're going to go out on a boat. It's going to be fun. Going to have party favors. And they meet the cocaine sharks.
Well, he's trying to grant her every wish. It looks like he's going to grant her a divorce as well in the last 9 months. So apparently she tried to because he was offended by this, obviously.
Oh yeah.
She was trying to explain to him that well, this guy was my most physically compatible lover, and when I make love to you, it's emotional and it's totally different. And then the guy was well, she had this long roundabout reasoning, but at the end of the day, it's just all bullshit. So I just think that story's wild. I think it is wild.
Are you sure it didn't go like this? No, honey, you're taking it the wrong way. No, honey, it's just his dick's bigger than yours.
He just pleasures me better.
Yeah, it's nothing like that.
And the guy's I should have known something was up when you attended, National Orgasm Day with him instead of me. I should have.
Ooh, what if
two and two together?
What if I bet it sucks. I bet Orgasm Day sucks for people if it falls during Shark Week.
Yeah, because you got to choose what you got to do. You got two things on your itinerary that Shark Week's. Oh, I.
It's a.
Josh, fire your guns on that one. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Last story of the episode, man. This has just flown by.
I thought I shot Jumpin' Jeff for a second. I'm sorry.
Oh, please put him out of his misery so we can get another wrestling promo to work with. Okay, here we go. Last story of the episode.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, if you're still with us, slashtrax2020@gmail.com. Send us a would you rather question. Dear Slashy, get some advice from us. If you're a company, you had fun with us, because this was a really fun episode, actually, and you thought we were funny, you thought it was a good time, you want to sponsor with us on a future episode of the review show, the podcast, which is the new show we're doing right now, or Slash Trax, where we riff and watch and make fun of bad horror movies, or Getting Sidetracked, where we interview celebrities, go ahead and email us at slashtrax2020@gmail.com. We'll look at the offer, and Josh and I are big-time YouTube personalities, big-time famous YouTube personalities. Josh was even told that the other day. And maybe we'll get back to you. If the deal's not good, we won't. So kick rocks. We'll send your ass to the Gulf of Florida, and you'll be having to deal with the cocaine sharks.
During Shark Week.
Yep. Last story of the night.
Let's do it.
August 8th was the 19th anniversary of the Dave Matthews Band Chicago River incident. The tour bus of Dave Matthews Band accidentally dropped an estimated 800 pounds of human waste from the bus's black water tank through the Kinsey Street Bridge in Chicago onto a passenger sightseeing boat. So it was the 19th anniversary that happened in 2004. Did you celebrate the anniversary, Josh?
I actually was at the concert, and I got to tell you, Alex, the concert was shit.
It was shitty.
Shit.
Shitty show.
It was just shit. Yeah, I didn't know about that story. And it happened on my birthday too. That's weird. I didn't know. Usually, I know the weird shit that happens on my birthday, but I did not know about that one.
The person who was in charge of the boat for the sightseeing promised the people on deck and on board that they would see some shit they had never seen before. They
did. Yeah, they did. And the sharks ate it too, and they became shit sharks. So
yeah, well, they got a taste, just a little taste of the cocaine turd, because there was just enough trace amounts of the cocaine in the turds of the Dave Well, maybe they had a lot of cocaine in the turds, because rock stars do coke all the time, right?
Yeah. The cocaine turd, man. That's all I've heard.
Did this song play when they dropped it on them by accident? I did it. Do you think I've got too far?
Oh my God. I got a question. Tony the Spider, what the hell goes on in Alex's head when he's writing these shows?
If you people only knew.
I do want to know. Is that all he says? Okay, whatever.
Hey, Tony the Spider, Josh, Jumpin' Jeff Farmer. You can find out what goes on in my head when I'm writing this exact show on the very next episode of Slash Trax Action News. Make sure you tune in. We'll see you again, Josh, in the show, buddy.
All right. Hit us up on Patreon, folks. Patreon.com/80slasherlibrarian. Lots of cool stuff there. You want a cameo? Check it out in the credits or in the description below. The credits below. It's going to roll here in a minute. Thank you all so much for watching. Be excellent to each other. Good night. Have a pleasant tomorrow. Say good night, Alex.
Good night, Alex. Mahalo, dog. R.I.P. Paul Rubens. Love you, Pee-wee.
Yes.
You've got me mad now. Yep.
I wasn't kidding. I think we could get French Stewart too.
Talk to him about
Like,
Inspector Gadget 2.
Yeah, all of it. Like, oh my
All
God,
the
I
way
actually
forward.
watched that one time. I actually watched it. Okay, I will put it this way: the sequel, the one he was in, Inspector Gadget, it was way more close to the cartoon than the first movie was. Freaking Buzz Lightyear was a coke mule. So
And you know how he got out of that that huge sentence? He only had a slap on the wrist.
he was a narc.
He narked out all of his
Yeah.
people. Yeah. More narking. Rawr, 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 rawr. I'm
Did
sure
you
the
ever
people
play?
he-
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sure the people that he narked out in prison just loved Home Improvement when they were watching it together in the,
they were happy.
family room at the prison there.
And then they see the new show and they're like, yeah, he's about to be the last man standing because we're about to get out on parole.
No, he's about ready to not be standing because we're getting out on parole.
Is that why he named his show that? Just as an insult to the people in jail that are definitely watching his shows, you know? Like, look who the last man standing is, you know?
He truly is the Santa Claus. He gave himself the gift of freedom by ratting out his entire crew.
Did you ever play Home Improvement for the Super Nintendo by accident?
No.
It would have had to have been by accident.
By accident.
Like, that's all the video store had that night or something. Like, whenever I rented Wayne's World and stuff. But, yeah. There's a video game, and the first level is in prehistoric times fighting dinosaurs. You know, like on the show?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I might include this clip somewhere at the end of the show, but yeah, whenever you're ready.
Well, yeah, because everybody knows that when I think of Home Improvement, except for Zachary Ty Bryan getting fucking arrested in Eugene constantly.
Really?
Yeah, he got arrested last week, and he was arrested like 2 years ago. Like the older brother, Brad.
Yeah.
Who was the douchebag with the frosted tips, and he was like the bad guy in First Son or First Kid, the Sinbad movie where the kid's like the president's son or whatever.
He was a meteor freak on Smallville one week, like back in like season 2 or 3 or something, and he always seemed like he had a short temper, even back then. So I
He's
believe
like
it.
43, 45 at this point, and like he lives in Eugene, and he's constantly being arrested.